Clarabelle cow got it. She was back on track, baby. The cow was back and she was milking it. What's going on, Disney fans? It's Dan back with another evolution, and this time we're taking it to the barnyard. That's right. Over at the Magic Kingdom, they're painting the new castle pink and blue. And what they really should be doing is painting it red and white, all right? Because if you really think about Disney in general, they all started as a little bit of a barn with horses and mice and ducks and cows. Right from the very beginning of Mickey Mouse and all of his shorts and things like Plain Crazy and Steamboat Willie, there was heavily featured this ambiguous cow character, this female cow, right? Because she had udders, wasn't a bull, because very clearly in Plain Crazy, she's being drug around, right? The Mickey Mouse comic strips in April, they introduce her as this kind of gossipy cow. You know, she's the talk of the town. She's a cow, right? So she's always chewing cud. But you know, cows, they've got many stomachs. They regurgitate a lot, and they're always just chewing the cud, chewing the grass, you know? And so, of course, it's a gossipy character, always hanging out, just chatting. And so in this comic strip in April, they addressed her as Clarabelle Cow. They gave her name for the first time ever to spread the word that Minnie had secretly inherited Mortimer Mouse's riches, because Minnie is apparently the equivalent of Scrooge McDuck back in the early 30s. And at the same time that they're giving her personality in the comic strips, they're starting to give her personality on the screen. And so in shorts like the Shindig, you know, now she has a little bit of a bell. They're adding a little bit of femininity to the character. And her personality continues to evolve into the first colored short with the band concert, where she's a flautist with this beautiful blue shirt and the bell, and now she's wearing a little bit of a skirt. And they begin to, you know, evolve the character, give her more and more until we reach that pinnacle of the 1942 Mickey's Birthday Party short, where now she's full blown. She's in a dress. She's got this beautiful bow. She's in a conga line, you know, with the chicken and the horse and everybody, and everyone's having a really good time. And now Clarabelle is Clarabelle. Starting from nothing but a simple black-lined a cow background character, fully evolving into this hoity-toity, very you know. Ooh, I do a pretty good Clarabelle Cow, don't I? Disney on Parade hits America and those ice rinks across America. And now we're starting to get the costume characters touring the country, right? Everyone around the country, even if you can't make it to Disneyland or Disney World, you can still see the characters appearing in the arena in your local town. They're doing tons and tons and tons of shows with all different sorts of characters. And every year that they do Disney on Parade, they're morphing the show a little bit and adding new scenes, swapping out different songs. And a year or two into the run, they bring back the classic animated short, The Orphans Benefit, and bring Clarabelle Cow, Goofy, and Horace Horsecollar into the arena to reenact what has become one of the most confusing things about Disney characters that I might have ever encountered in my entire life, is this bizarre love triangle between a cow, a horse, and a dog, all right? Okay, let's rewind. All the way back in 1934, there's the Orphans Benefit, all right? It's this black and white short about this theater that opens up and all these little baby orphan mice come in and the gang kind of puts on a show to entertain the kids. And about halfway through the show, out comes Clarabelle in this beautiful dress, and then Horace Horsecollar and Goofy in these caveman outfits, and they begin to fight over her love. And they're twirling her and spinning her and throwing her back and forth, and they recreate this top to bottom in the Disney on Parade live show, which is great. And the thing is, she continues to do this until today, all right? Clarabelle Cow is a hot commodity, and Goofy and Horace are after her heart, and they continue to war over her heart for decades, all right? But none of you ever thought if a cow could love a dog, but now it's in your brain, and now you have to resolve that in ways that I can't help you with, because I can't resolve it myself either. Now, the costume that they bring out for Clarabelle in Disney on Parade is gorgeous. It's got this nice pleated blue dress with these big open bloomers. The head sculpt on this thing is actually pretty gorgeous. They do a pretty decent job of articulating this very colorful, very bright looking cow head. Even Horace, and they made him blue, which was a choice. That's fine. The way that they were developing these sculpts in the early 70s was pretty well done, I have to say, which is fine and all until you go to the theme parks in the early 70s and you begin to ask yourself, what was happening? What was happening? It looks like whoever designed the costumes for Disney on Parade had some kind of horrible fever dream and then redesigned them for the theme parks in a black and white kind of color palette that is what one could only describe as mildly horrifying. They're going classic animated Mickey shorts with this look. Look at these nostrils, look at those eye holes. It's so strange to go over to Disney on Parade where you have these colorful, vibrant, gorgeous costumes that articulate where the characters are looking, that articulate that the characters at least have some kind of emotion and don't just look like dead-eyed, spooky livestock. That's what this is. It's just spooky livestock. And they're using that technique that they kind of abandoned pretty early on with Mickey and Minnie, where it's just a black leotard with some costume pieces and a head over it. I'm not sure why this happened, but it did happen, but it only happened for about a year. And then they retired these. I'm sure that I'm sure they had to hold a seance before they could burn them because they were just fireproof because they're so unholy. I just can't imagine these turning the corner in Disneyland and any kid being like, hooray! So after her appearance in the late 70s in the park, that horrifying appearance, she kind of was gone from all of Disney kind of thought and the minds of Disney. In fact, a lot of the Silly Symphony characters kind of faded away in the background as they were focusing on, producing more films and more movies that were on original properties or based off of, whatever myth or fairy tale they wanted to co-op that decade. They make a wonderful animated film that I adore a great deal called Who Framed Roger Rabbit in 1988. And in that film, they kind of threw in every gosh darn Disney character that you could possibly think of because it was this mashup of the real life tunes, backstage, getting horribly murdered by Christopher Lloyd with spooky eyes. And as they explore this world, we get to see certain, just generic characters and how they're interacting in real life. Eddie's walking, backstage on the back lot. She played a little bit of a background character in a cattle call. Great joke, we get it, that's fine. That year in Disneyland, they produced a special Roger Rabbit Christmas spectacular with Roger Rabbit and toys and Santa Claus and just everything that is to love about Christmas and anamorphic white bunnies in red overalls. And in that show, we get to see a bunch of ancillary backup characters. And in those characters that come out of the walls is like, a doll, a toy soldier, and a cow. A cow that looks suspiciously like Clarabelle cow. Now, it isn't Clarabelle cow because there's two of them and they're identical, but it's the mold and design clearly done and used and ready and prepped to be a replacement Clarabelle that was kind of like snuck into the budget of this show, which I think is a little bit genius. Now in the arsenal in the warehouse of costume characters in Disneyland, thanks to this Roger Rabbit show, Clarabelle cow suddenly had a new head sculpt and was ready to go and be used whenever she might be needed in a future parade or appearance. But before we got there, another cow stole the scene, man. Another cow rolled in 1990 and just took over, and her name was Minnie Moo. If you don't know about Minnie Moo, it was a real-life cow from Minnesota who was born with a Mickey on the side of it, and the daughter of the farmer was like, I love this cow so gosh darn much. I'm gonna write Mr. Disney himself and see if he'll save him. And sure enough, they did. They bought the cow, which started a small avalanche of people being like, well, I have a Dorito that's shaped like Mickey Mouse, and another person's like, well, I've shaved a Mickey Mouse on the side of my pet ferret. Do you guys want to buy? Like, everyone was trying to sell Disney anything that was just three spheres next to each other. And if anyone's been to the theme parks, you know how easy it is to hide hidden Mickeys anywhere, because it's just three circles. So believe it or not, three circles repeat themselves in nature pretty gosh darn often. And Disney kind of opened the floodgates to be like, sell us your livestock with 3 circles printed on them. But Minnie Moo is a beloved character in the parks. When she was purchased in 1990, she spent a lot of time in Mickey's Birthday Land that then turned into Mickey's Starland, where she lived in Grandma Duck's petting zoo at Mickey's Starland, and then Minnie was relocated to the Triple D Ranch at Fort Wilderness Resort, where she lived for 17 years, all right? There's a 17-year-old cow with Mickey Mouse on the side of her, living in Fort Wilderness for the better part of a decade, and you had no idea, did you? You had no idea. Well, she lived to a ripe old age of 17 and then passed on to the great cow plains. I don't know where cows go when they die. I believe McDonald's. Or any real fast food chain, I guess.
Oh, thank you, sire.
Gosh, Mick's flipped his wig.
That same year in 1990, when Minnie Moo was trying to take over the parks, Clarabelle Cow was rolling in with The Prince and the Pauper with another cameo appearance as Disney started to experiment a little bit more with the idea of using their original stock of IP characters, a little bit like the Muppets do now, to retell some classic stories. And The Prince and the Pauper was next up, and that essentially was her slow rise into getting her way back into the parks in 1992, when arguably one of the strangest parades that has ever been paraded in all of parades paraded at Disneyland. The World According to Goofy. If you don't know about this parade, just here. I'm just going to talk about one segment, the segment with Clarabelle Cow in it. And the imagery that you are about to see might be so disturbing and confusing to you that you may run for your lives, all right? Because this parade featured things like the Goofy golf ball, which is an image that now you'll never be able to get out of your head because I can't. No one who's seen it has been able to. This parade essentially had several sections: a dinosaur section, a Cleopatra kind of like putt-putt golf section, an artist section, and it allowed them to fill the parade with variants of Goofy. Just Goofy. And if you're gonna have a parade all about Goofy, well then maybe you should include his on-again, off-again girlfriend, Clarabelle Cow. And what best way to present her to the park and show how truly important she is to Goofy, except to present her as Clarabelle Cowapatra, Clarapatra the cow. I don't know. All I know is that she was killed by a snake bite, and Mark Antony and her were like drinking buddies. Clarabelle Cow, the Cleopatra on the King Putt parade float, and isn't she beautiful? Isn't she gorgeous? Isn't she just lovely in gold with the eyeshadow? And this is that head sculpt we saw from the Roger Rabbit show, brought to life now officially as Clarabelle with the right color eyeshadow and the right attitude, mind you, the right attitude, because she is up there delivering full Clarabelle sass like she does 24/7. I really love this parade. If you haven't heard about it, leave a comment below. Maybe I'll just do a video specifically about just dissecting all of the crazy Goofies that were found inside of this parade. So leave a comment if you've seen Golf Ball Goofy, or leave a comment if Golf Ball Goofy's haunted your dreams. Hashtag Golf Ball Goofy. That same year, we're now rolling into the Christmas season, and there is this decadent gingerbread Christmas float that Daisy's always on, doing up some cakes and cookies. And joining her, beginning in 1992, was Clarabelle Cow. One could potentially argue the other Clarabelle Cow that they built for the Roger Rabbit. They had one that was currently being used for World According to Goofy, that was on the parade floats dressed as Cleopatra, and they had a second one with a different color eyeshadow and in a different dress being used for the Christmas parade that was being run through Disneyland from 1992 to 1997. And she just hung out on that parade float. Clarabelle Cow has just found her way into everything Disney Park and Christmas. Before we get too far, we have to point out that in 1993, down at Mickey's Toontown in Disneyland, Clarabelle Cow took it up a notch in a way that a lot of characters don't get the opportunity to, because she got her own frozen yogurt stand, all right? I mean, come on, that's just marketing that writes itself, folks. Let me just take this moment to say that chocolate sprinkles are the worst thing ever, and rainbow sprinkles are the only way to go. I don't know why that was a hill I chose to die on with sprinkles, but you know, I haven't really had the platform to talk about my sprinkle choice until today, when we're talking about Clarabelle and her yogurt stand. And so all I'm saying is, and it's okay if you want to call them Jimmies. It's okay if you want to call them rainbow Jimmies. I'm fine with that. That's fine. But just chocolate sprinkles. If you want chocolate things on your ice cream, chocolate chips. But why do we need to bring sprinkles into it? Okay, the truth is you can't trust that one of those chocolate sprinkles isn't a rat turd, all right? That's it. I finally said it. I said it publicly. You can't trust all the rainbow sprinkles. If you see a little brown nugget floating around in your rainbow sprinkles, you know that doesn't belong there. But chocolate sprinkles, it's camouflage, man. Why would you do that to yourself? For Tokyo Disneyland's 15th anniversary, they held this awesome castle show called Viva Magic. And in this show, they brought to life the band concert Silly Symphony original short, including Clarabelle Cow and Horace and the pig and Micky. Band leader Micky in this outfit it's a gorgeous outfit. They put all the characters in their classic band uniforms from that vintage short. And what is kind of interesting about that is that Horace and Clarabelle and the costumes that they get from this Viva Magic 15th anniversary show in Tokyo end up kind of becoming their default costumes throughout all of the parks. And if you really look closely and pay attention to this long red skirt, this blue top with the yellow detailing, even Horace's big green kind of jacket with the big golden collar, they're band uniforms. When you kind of look at the bigger picture and look back at what they were wearing in the band concert, it's like, oh, yeah, they're just wearing their band outfits, which I guess is fine because that was the first time we saw these characters in color back in the day. This was the first time we saw the characters with a little bit of personality. So attaching them to this original kind of look and style, it's kind of heartwarming and endearing and a send-off to that beautiful classic kind of look that they had and persevered to this day, to the late 90s, where it was being used in Tokyo to celebrate the 15th anniversary. And in the 2000s, man, Clarabelle Cow got it. She was back on track, baby. The cow was back and she was milking it. If you roll the tape back in slow-mo, you will catch, I'm almost positive, the moment where my eyebrows raise and I caught that pun. That headpiece continues to be used for quite a long time. So in the 2000s, as Mickey Mouse kind of is reinvented once again into things like House of Mouse, Mickey Mouse Club, and now with the new Mickey Shorts, Clarabelle is back at it, all right? But with more personality and flair than ever before. No greater have there been of a shining moment for Clarabelle than in 2016 when she took the stage for Mickey's Most Merriest Celebration, who gets rolled out in what arguably might be the most fabulous sleigh known to man, all right, a disco sleigh. She's just full diva, and I'm living for this moment, all right? I'm living for this moment with this big, beautiful bow and this beautiful white gown. Mickey's Most Merriest Celebration in general kind of upped the ante for most of the costume characters in that show. You started to see them roll out articulated versions of all of the characters featured in that show because they all had to sing along, including Clarabelle. Characters like Clarabelle, when they're translated beautifully into articulated heads, just rock my socks, okay? Because they're huge characters. They're very large, as opposed to like Donald Duck, let's say, or even Mickey Mouse, who is really just a little sphere with big ears. But Clarabelle just has a lot of depth to her head and a lot of height with that bow and those horns. That they were able to articulate her so beautifully, and to do that, they did a couple little tricks, like taking her eyes, which were previously split, and sticking them together so that there was just one unified brow that could go up and down. And by taking those nostrils and kind of doing away with that exposed reticulated foam that had previously given it this kind of like uneasy kind of texture, and shearing it up as a thrown fiberglass mold that was painted and polished. And it really makes it look like that Mickey Mouse Clubhouse version of Clarabelle has just sauntered out onto stage to sing us some beautiful Christmas tunes. And might I also just mention that this is one of the best numbers ever done on the stage at Disney parks for one very small reason, and that reason is Left Reindeer. Left Reindeer is the fiercest reindeer in all the land, and no one can make me think differently. Gosh darn it, I love Left Reindeer so much, and if it wasn't for Clarabelle and that beautiful solo she had that show, we never would have gotten Left Reindeer and all that tight reindeer shimmying, everything. Man, I love Left Reindeer. That version of Clarabelle from the 2016 Christmas party was so popular and so beautifully designed that it didn't take much effort to translate that into a non-articulated version of the head, which began to roam around the parks as early as 2017. And now that version of Clarabelle, along with the modified and updated version of Horace to kind of make them this beautiful farm couple pair, Horace in overalls and his big old button in his collar, and Clarabelle with her bow, her bell, this adorable little hat, the yellow and red ensemble. It's a really, really cute kind of farmer cow couple, which begins to raise the question that that's who Clarabelle's being seen publicly with in the parks these days. Is it now Horace who's won her heart? Is it Horace who's won her heart? I'm not sure. I feel like we need some answers, Disney. We need some answers about what Clarabelle's up to and who she loves. I can't sleep at night. It's been keeping me up. So there's the long history of cows at the Disney parks. Clarabelle started all the way back in the early 30s. She was there from the beginning, though she didn't necessarily have a name. That female cow stock character in Disney shorts was there from the get-go, from the beginning, from Plain Crazy and Steamboat Willie on. She's a very important character to the Disney mythos, to the Disney legends, to the halls of Disney characters, and I love her, and lots of people love her. She's really found her place with a very unique personality and really interesting personality traits that I think a lot of people identify with maybe a little too much with all you salty gossipers out there. So let me know which version of Clarabelle Cow you liked the most, or which one scared you the most. Were you afraid that your soul was going to be eaten by those black and white Clarabelle nostrils? If so, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you visit me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, where you'll find deleted clips from this video and other videos where I kind of rant on. And if you want to listen to me giggle more, that's a great place to do it. Thanks for watching, guys. You rock. It goes Hitchhiking Ghosts, Big Al, Left Reindeer. That's how it goes in my book. Okay, we have gone way too off topic again. Although, Left Reindeer close and dear to my heart. Hey, if you're this deep in the episode, I'm pretty sure you're on the train ride with me in terms of all of my bizarre thoughts, and so hopefully you enjoy my little rant about Left Reindeer.